Poor food choices have been blamed for a number of chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension and cancers. Lydia Brown, Executive Secretary for the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council, explains that Friday's training involves the food-based dietary guidelines, which was approved by Cabinet and launched in February of this year.
Training is basically, we have a handbook that goes through the guidelines and gives some information on each of the messages of the guidelines. There are 8 messages and there's a graphic, and it gives some information on each of the areas of the guidelines. Today we have the nurses working in groups, so they're working on the first 5 messages, and the other 3 and the graphic we will do together as a unit.
With the pending reopening of school in September, it is hoped that with the involvement of the Ministry of Education, it will become part of the curriculum.
So there's a guideline that was set, not a guideline, but a list of things that was sent to the Ministry of Education as suggestions for snacks that persons can utilize. I would advise people to contact the ministry, contact the Food and Nutrition Council, and we can provide them with that list that they can have some idea. It's not a complete list, but at least it would give them some idea as to the direction in which they need to go. Because the intent is that the guidelines would be placed into the curriculum so that we wouldn't get lost like the first guideline that was launched in 2006.
Aloma Bain Street from the Health Promotion Department in the Ministry of Health is one of the participants who encourages eating local as the most viable way.
What we're looking at is the practicality of applying what is said in the guidelines. So my area that I was working on speaks to using local fruits and vegetables and this local seasoning, herbs and spices. Ways and means that I can cut down on sodium and sugar. I use cinnamon in my tea most times. I have cinnamon tea sometimes. I use herbs instead of salt in my provision. I use things like big thyme, and so it's really practical for me.
Participants were trained as facilitators who will assist the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council in disseminating the information on the guidelines throughout the country. Christina John, GBN News.